provided me with details of the recent meeting held with Bill Scott, who was giving evidence to the Welfare Reform Committee about how many disabled people in Scotland on different disability benefits will lose all or part of these benefits, and how many will be further affected by the housing benefit reform. I have been asked as part of this process to provide information regarding my own experiences of these reforms and how they have affected my life. I am a 50-year-old man who is registered blind and a guide dog user. I have chronic heart disease, diabetes and suffer from depression. I lost my sight at the age of 31, and as I worked for a government department, I was kept in employment due to their equal opportunities policies. However, when I had my heart attack 7 years ago, I was finished by a department on health grounds. I received DLA mobility and care component and have been migrated from incapacity benefit to ESA support group. During my migration to ESA, I was continually harassed by Atos Healthcare, Job Centre Plus and DWP, all of which I complained about. The processes they used and the protocols were not followed, resulting in me feeling harassed and bullied. I did not receive the communications in my chosen format and only got them when I complained. I was forced to go to a medical centre in an area unknown to me, even though the protocol stated blind and deaf-blind people have the right to undergo a medical assessment at home. Those complaints were upheld and I received an official apology. This was a traumatic time for me and it left me scared about my future. ESA is a time-limiting benefit, even to those of us who are put in the support group. In reality, this is how the benefit has been set up. The work group are limited to 12 months in ESA and the support group can undergo further medical assessments at any time. I was initially put in the support group for a period of approximately 8 months. When I queried this, I was told they had made a mistake and the longest anyone can be put in the support group for is 3 years. After this, I will undergo another reassessment. However, depending on future ESA rulings or medical examiner guidance, this could leave me being transferred to the work group sooner, resulting in ESA being removed within a 12-month period. This seems strange to me, as my disability will never change. Yet, according to the current rules, a medical assessment can be called at any time to see whether I am still considered disabled enough to stay in the support group. As far as I'm concerned, this is harassment, bullying, persecution and victimisation of the most vulnerable in our society. Prior to the introduction of ESA, there were exemptions to the medical assessment process. Now there are none. This means everyone has to undergo these medical assessments, even though common sense indicates no requirement. This is a waste of public spending, yet this is ignored. It is hard enough for able-bodied people to secure work during this recession, but it's so much harder for anyone with a disability. The government appears to forget that, and as a result, many disabled people will lose their benefit and have to depend on others for survival. I will soon be one of them. At this time, my benefit does not cover all my costs. I have to rely on friends and family for sensory, physical and financial support. I thought I was one of the lucky ones who saved hard when I could work and bought my own home. Now I am no longer fit to work. My benefits do not meet my needs. Unlike people in social housing, I have to pay for my repairs. I have to pay for my gardening. I have to pay for my building insurance and a whole lot more. Is there support for people who have their own home? No. I thought the days of the blind man begging with a cup on street corners were gone. Sadly, that is not the case. I still rely on family handouts and additional begged support in order to live. ESA, and as far as I'm aware, PIP, and its introduction will never meet the true cost of disability. If disabled people were provided by the actual help they need, the true cost to the Treasury and the local authority would be so much higher than the current benefits on offer. I fear for the introduction of the PIP, which evidently means personal independence payment. However, none of the consultation papers show the application to be personal or based on independence. Once again, the questions and the weightings are all in favour of removing support rather than providing financial support. This is backed up by the fact that the main objective of this benefit is to reduce the welfare bill by at least 20%. I fear that I will have to go through another witch hunt in order to apply for this benefit. I originally applied for DLA due to my disability, then was awarded DLA for life. Then the wording suddenly changed on communications, stating indefinitely. Now, not only do they make the criteria harder, they remove some of the ranges. The middle rate care component has been removed, and now we only have a high and a low rate. Why? 2 rates show no room for flexibility and are certainly not conducive to being personal. I fear, without a doubt, I will only lose more income once I have to go through this undignified process once again. I am tired of fighting officials who seem to think that they know more about my disabilities and needs than I do. It now makes me feel ashamed of who I am. I am being punished for being disabled and I feel powerless. Being blind is an isolating disability. If my benefits are slashed in any way, I will become even more isolated. I would not be able to afford to use my computer. This is the only true way of providing me with information and communication. I would not be able to afford the internet, which will cut me off from family and friends. I would not be able to afford the additional high cost of assistive technology I use, which will leave me in danger. I will not be able to afford the support I need for shopping, gardening, socialising, banking, reading mail, getting to places like hospital, dentists, barbers, etc. Many benefits have passported support, such as the National Entitlement Card, which acts as free access to buses and trains. As a blind person, I was proud of the Scottish Government for recognising the fact that blind people require a companion in order to get about and participate in society. However, if this changes with the new rulings, I could find myself without this support. Without this card, I would become bound to the area I live in, which will in turn lose my rights to a social life, family life, health and daily living activities. The entitlement card is awarded based on the benefits you receive, and one of them includes DLA. Changing to PIP could have a dreadful impact on people's mobility, jobs, involvement, health and social aspects. I only wish the government would look closely at people's disabilities. Look really closely at people's disabilities and see the true disabling factors. Disabled people are still fighting for equality to jobs, access to the built-up environment, access to information, access to social lives, access to housing. The barriers are still there, and with this recession, no money is being spent to remove these barriers. How are the disabled ever going to get equality? As a blind man, my medical assessment declares I am mobile because I have a mobility aid, my guide dog. I am mobile, but not fully independently mobile. I am only mobile in areas I have knowledge of. I am only mobile if I remember my route. I am not mobile if crossings don't work, or during bad weather in wind and snow, or in areas I have never been to, or if my guide dog is out of commission. The questions and waiting should not be put in such a way which favours an outcome of removal of support. The question should surely be in favour of positive outcome for the customer or claimant. This needs to be examined under our human rights and the UK's Equality Act 2010. I am a proud man and would love to work for a living. However, the true facts are employers do not want to employ disabled people. There are no real incentives for employers to employ disabled people. There is no strategy in place to help disabled people get jobs and retain them. Even when I was in employment with an equal opportunities employer, I did not have all my needs met. Communications were always in print format, meetings were held and my needs ignored. Although most understood I used a screen reader, which is a slower process to listen to it, as there is no facility to speed read, I was still expected to meet the same targets as someone who could see. I had to work harder and longer just to keep myself in work, and as a result I ended up with a heart attack due to the pressures. Not just doing the job, but travelling to the job, travelling within the job, coping with my disability and organising workloads. When you are the only one who is blind in the workforce, you are even more isolated. There is no one who understands your needs or the support you require. I loved my job. However, I did not love the isolation, fear, bullying and hardship it brought. It truly is a sad reflection of any government that refuses to see the true fear it has put the most vulnerable in our society under. In my opinion, it is simply persecution. We did not choose our disabilities. We need support to ensure that the most vulnerable in our society is not the hardest hit. Many of our disabled people are having their income slashed from anything between 20 to 100%. It would be good to see the Scottish Government take positive, proactive steps to help protect its people from this persecution. It would be a significant step forward to see the Scottish Government involve disabled people in any process which will affect their lives. I hope this has given you some insight into the fears that I have for my future. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and I'm sure there are many stories out there from people similar or indeed worse off than myself.